Well, good afternoon. Excited about getting a chance to play Missouri again. It's been a while. K-State and Missouri have hooked up, but I know our fans are excited about it, and our players are excited. We had our first team meeting back yesterday and then had a practice yesterday. I know the fans will be cranked up, but we had a great crowd last Saturday at the Bill. It was an electric crowd. I know our kids really appreciated the fans coming out, the students. Our band's as good as always, and it was a great atmosphere, and I know our players really appreciated that, so I want to thank the fans, and I challenge them even this week. It's going to need to be even louder and more electric, and I think it will be for this great game. So we'll start our prep today with our pads on and get a plan together.
A shocking first question, but do you have an update on Taylor Portier or Sean Robinson?
Yeah, TP, it's a cruel thing, man. He tore a knee again, and he'll be out for the season. It's awful. How come sometimes the cruelest things happen to the best kids? And so it was confirmed with us on Sunday afternoon that was the case, and so he'll be lost for the season. And my heart goes out for him because of all he did to get himself back, and he'll get surgery once we get swelling and stuff down. And then regarding Sean and Josh, we're too early to tell this week if they'll be back ready to play. I thought I'd address Josh as well. Hopefully get him back. We're not sure.
What have you been able to kind of glean from watching the Missouri offense so far?
Multiple. Really do a nice job running the football. They've got a kind of a wide zone or stretch run game and some counter that is really effective. Really good guys up front, a number of backs that can sprinkle in, and then very, very dynamic at the wide receiver position. Guys that can hit home runs, whether it's through the vertical passing game or jet sweeps or just getting the ball out in space. They do a lot of things. It's going to be a big challenge for us.
I'm assuming Panzer will slide in and play right guard this week for you.
That's the plan. We'll move some other guys around to continue to get a rotation, but right now Hadley will start at right guard, and Liney will play a little bit more. He's a guy that can be versatile and play a couple different spots. Carver will still play some. Sam Hecht, we got to continue to push and get him maybe more reps in practice so he's ready. Dawson Delforge, more reps in practice so he'll be ready.
Specifically with Hadley, how versatile of a lineman is he that he can be your backup center and your starting guard?
It's pretty unique, and it's something he's worked on a bunch to get himself ready at center, and now he'd always played some guard because we took some reps off of Beebs and TP in fall camp, so he's had a lot of reps at guard throughout fall camp, so it's not going to be foreign to him. But the fact that he knows all the calls, and Gilly played really well, so I'm excited to keep him at center and have Hadley play right guard.
You guys played a lot of personnel on defense. After you went back and watched it a little more closely on replay, who stood out to you as some of the top performers?
Let's see. Well, Austin Moore played really well for his first start. We think of him as a veteran kid, and it was his first start. He did a really nice job. I was excited about some new players. Uso made a couple of good plays. Damian made a couple of good plays. I thought Omar Daniels did some good things. Desmond Purnell did some nice things. Some guys that are really new. Kobe Savage is a really good football player. I think everybody saw how he flies around and can make some plays. And then getting Sincere back really helped us because he understands our defense so well, and he's getting himself as close to healthy. It's not quite been a full year, but close to healthy. And so between he and Drake Cheatham, we split those snaps. But played a lot of guys, and we're going to probably do the same this week.
One more for you, and I'll give it to somebody else. But when I was looking back at one play in particular, the play where they ran the corner blitz and they got to Adrian, the guy went in there untouched. Whose responsibility is that on the play to pick up a block like that? Is it the receiver or an offensive lineman?
It was probably an offensive lineman or a back, but it was a delayed blitz, and we just missed it. They had a real good timing to it, and I think we missed some communication on it because he came a little late. But without question, and then they came later on, and we did pick it up. It was something we hadn't seen, and then they came later on with the same blitz. We did pick it up, but it was a good call by those guys.
Coach, a little bit earlier, you talked about how dynamic Missouri's wide receiver core is. Do you feel like it's a big opportunity for your defensive backs, and particularly that safety group this weekend?
Well, everybody, safeties and corners alike, to have a great challenge with some really dynamic receivers. And there's going to be a lot of motions and shifts. And there's good a trick play gadget team as there is too. They run a lot of reverses, reverse pass, flea flickers, double passes, and we have to make sure that we're really disciplined in the back end, because I think they do a tremendous job of showing you one thing and the next time showing you the same look and having a trick play or gadget play from it, and execute those at a high level. And so we have to have great eyes and great discipline, and it's going to be a big challenge for the secondary. And you hope we can put some pressure on the quarterback or pressure on some of the gadget plays with whether it's 4 and 5 man stuff to make it a little bit harder to get those off.
How important is the discipline aspect of things with how many guys they rotate, and like you said, all those different kind of plays that Missouri runs with a young group back there at the defensive back position?
Oh, it's a challenge, but we're up for it, and it's going to be something we're going to see from here on out.
Coach, after kind of looking at the film, was there anything that Adrian did that you were more impressed with after you watched it, and then anything else that you would like for him to work on this week?
I think we're all going to improve from game 1 to game 2 collectively offensively. We think we left some plays out there collectively on offense, but as far as the game operation and the management of the game, he was really good. Didn't have any false starts, and didn't have any delay games, didn't turn the football over, and I'm excited to see the growth that we make offensively.
What's your impression on Brady Cook, Missouri's quarterback?
I'm sorry?
What's your impression on Brady Cook, Missouri's quarterback?
He's a talented guy. He's got enough snaps in him now that he's a veteran. I think he runs the ball exceptionally well. They have a really good controlled passing game, and then they'll take some shots vertically, and he throws the deep ball well. So I'm really impressed with him.
Did you detect any hesitancy in Martinez's downfield game, or was South Dakota kind of taking that away?
I think South Dakota did some really good things that we had not seen on film. You practice against something and you feel like you know what somebody's going to do from probably, in our view, like myself and Coach Riley, years of playing against them, and they did a lot of things different to try to change some eyes, and maybe some of the routes we had would have been good against a different coverage. And we get the coverage that they're probably not good on, and so we have to check the ball down. But give South Dakota credit.
And you mentioned Uso. How would you assess the nose guard play as a whole as it fits in the big picture?
Well, when you have Eli Huggins, it usually is pretty good. And Eli made a big-time sack to start the second half, and we rotated an awful lot of guys in there. We were able to do that. Eli's hopefully going to play the lion's share of reps, but just – the start of the game for us was really good on offense and defense and special teams, and then the start of the game on second half was critical. We were up 27-0, but we get a kickoff, go 3 and out. They punt it to us. We score on a long drive. So I was pleased with how we started both halves, offensively and defensively.
Coach, when you get out to that kind of lead in a game like this and you want to play a lot of guys, does it kind of constrict maybe what you put out on the field schematically?
Yes. We were going to protect Deuce once we got ahead 27-0. We were going to protect Phillip, protect Malik, try to do some different things. Wanted to get DJ the ball some, wanted to throw the ball around a little bit underneath. I was excited Jake Rubley got a chance to play because Jake did some really good things. But, yeah, we played pretty vanilla in the second half.
DJ Giddens, what was your assessment after looking?
Runs hard, and like I thought, like he's shown us all through camp, and the growth that DJ's had from last fall, last spring, where he was just a football player, to now a running back, and understanding the tracks and understanding where the hole and where the play's hitting, and I thought he ran really well. I was excited for DJ.
BJ Payne, what'd you think?
Great for a first time coming out. He doesn't know that he's going to play until Wednesday's practice, and we'd started him at a different safety spot all through fall camp and then switched him to the free safety spot. probably towards the end of August, and so now he's got 10 practices to understand the free safety spot as a backup and becomes a starter, and was excited for VJ. He's going to be a terrific football player. We're going to need him to be a really good player this year, and based on the availability of Josh, he's either going to play 60 snaps, 50 snaps, or 20 snaps. We don't know.
Considering that, I would guess every player in your locker room was in grade school the last time K-State, Missouri played, and Colin might be the only one with a direct connection.
Yep.
Does this feel like a rivalry game like it might to the fans?
Yes, to me it does. You're right. To the players, we're having some of the older guys reach out and talk to them about the rivalry game, because I think it is. And I remember as a kid growing up and watching, KU, Missouri, K-State, Missouri, and Nebraska, Missouri, and I thought it was great rivalries. And so I'm excited that when you get a regional one, we've played Stanford, we've played Mississippi State. To have a regional game for our fans, for our players, I think is really exciting, and I know it is exciting for the fans and all the people that saw Mizzou come in here for so many years.
Khalid Duke, how did you feel with limited practice that he did throwing in, especially with Sean out?
Yeah, he felt good. I think Khalid's going to be better as the season goes on, and he gets more and more comfortable playing the outside linebacker spot, as well as his body getting into better and better football shape and understanding. He only played that position for about a game last year, and then he gets hurt in the second game or third game when he's playing defensive end. So it's a little bit of a work in progress because he missed all of spring and fall camp at that new position. But he's explosive, and he runs through people. It's a different dynamic playing a linebacker there as opposed to playing a safety like we did all of last year. So it kind of maybe inhibits us in some respect, but I think it really helps us in some other spots, especially against the run.
Coach, it looked like Missouri brought a lot of pressure, blitzes, stunts against Louisiana Tech. Mm-hmm. What kind of challenges does that present to your offensive line?
Well, they're really active up front. I think they're really good up front. They're long. They use their hands well. They get off blocks. And then you combine that just with the front four, and then you combine that with pressures from outside linebackers, inside linebackers, a corner blitz. They're going to do a lot of different things to try to disrupt your offense. And so I don't know how much they showed. We know that there's certain things that we can look at from last year or other years. But there's some things that we didn't show on offense and defense for sure. And I know that there's probably a number of things offensively and defensively they didn't show. So it's going to still be a game of adapting and adjusting.
And you talked about playing a lot of guys potentially this week as well. One of those guys that played a lot last week was Jake Clifton. Is he maybe one of those guys that's going to start to work his way into the rotation? Yeah,
we'll see. He keeps learning and getting better. He's a really athletic, fast guy. He's just got to continue to learn the nuances of the inside linebacker spot. Because he's been a little bit more in space in high school, but he understands what we're doing for sure. And this week we're excited because Austin is a tremendous football player and will take the lion's share of those reps. But he's got to be able to come in and spell. Gavin Forche, we moved to that will linebacker spot as well. So those two are kind of taking a lot of the 2 reps to see if one of them rises up.
And last question for me. One guy we didn't get to see was Jack Stenine. I was just wondering if that was part of the game plan or if there's something else there.
He was similar to some of the other guys out medically. Should be available this week.
Things obviously change year to year, but from transferring from Missouri, is Sean Robinson kind of a resource that you guys go to just to ask about some things?
I would say to our guys, he probably is more as far as personnel and some of those things. Schematically, we haven't leaned on him as much on that probably, but I know that talking to his teammates probably on personnel of what this guy does well, or what maybe we can do some things to take advantage of some stuff.
And then one thing that we didn't get to ask about on Saturday is Chris Tennant. What kind of did you guys say to him after missing the field goal and extra point?
It's kickers are like, golfers missing a 3-footer, and I've missed a few of those. You don't say much. We know he's a talented kicker, and he's going to figure it out. I'm excited for him to get another opportunity, and we're going to give him the opportunity because he's earned it. And like I say, Chris is a terrific kicker, and we're just going to keep believing and keep relying on him.
Here's a guy you've talked about in the past. I was just curious if you could revisit it, but 6-year senior Eli Huggins. What does he mean to this defense, Coach?
Well, he's a captain. He's a guy that has been here the longest. He can help the young guys in transition part of college. He helps the guys that are new, that are playing a lot, to get settled in. He makes a lot of the calls up front. He challenges the younger players that are playing to watch more film. He's a terrific football player. He's very underrated, I think, across the national landscape, and he's okay with that. He just makes plays, and had a couple of big plays. He didn't play very many snaps, but he's going to play a lot more this week and weeks to come.
What does he do best? What do you admire about him on the field?
He does everything really well, but he's just so smart, and he understands the blocking schemes, understands where a back's at, understands if a guard or center is light, that they could be pulling. He's a step ahead because of his film study and because of the amount of experience he has, and he's crafty as far as slipping blocks. It's hard to block him and hard to sustain him.
Thank you.
Chris, maybe a simple question here, but we've seen you choose to take the opening kickoff in 2 straight games after choosing to defer for so long.
Gosh.
What went into that
That's
adjustment?
pretty good, that's really good. Couple things. Last year in the bowl game, I wanted Colin Klein and Skylar Thompson to relax and go play football. And so we wanted to take the ball and give those guys a chance to just get settled in. I think we're really, really explosive on offense, and I wanted to take the ball in hopes we could get a 7-0 lead and get the crowd really into it. Not that we couldn't have kicked off and stopped them just as easily, but I wanted to take the ball in the hopes of getting a score and getting the crowd really into it. Now, it got into it because on the first play, I saw Malik coming right at me, and Cade and Deuce making a couple of good blocks, and it's 7-0, and I said, well, that worked out well.
Did Colin have to needle you at all to start taking the kickoffs, or was that your
nope,
choice?
That was he knew the same thing you did. So he just, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do. And I don't know if that's going to be like that every week, but I just felt very comfortable this last week, and for a lot of reasons in the bowl game with a guy calling plays and the quarterback that had missed a couple of games.
I was going to ask you a little bit about Mizzou from a defensive standpoint. They've got, like I guess a lot of teams now, a big influx of transfer guys. Watching, I know it's just one game, but I felt like they were really all on the same page that first time. Can you give us a sense of how tough that can be?
Yeah, it is tough. I think you evolve as the season goes along, just like I think we'll evolve as the season goes along with guys like Kobe and Drake and Sean or any of the new guys that we have. You want to make sure that they play your base stuff really fast and really well. And some of it also has to do with the amount of stuff that you're seeing from an opposing team. We didn't think South Dakota was going to do a lot of motion and shift, so we said, let's just play base football and get these guys comfortable, and we'll keep adding to the package. I think they were very similar last week against Louisiana Tech. I didn't think they did a ton of things defensively, but they did a lot of things really well defensively with those guys playing a lot of, they brought pressure, but they played a lot of base football. They played some man, they played some zone, they applied pressure, they dropped 8 guys at times, but I see more stuff being added as those players, just like our players, get more comfortable.
I think I counted 67 that you got into the game. I'm not sure if you had a number in mind, but did you get the kind of numbers you at least close to what you hoped for?
The biggest number that I looked at is we had 39 kids play special teams. And that was what I was looking for. Offense, defensively, we were going to play a number of guys, but on special teams to see guys, like Mashmeyer, who hasn't played a lot for us. Thomas Helton, what a great story to see Tom getting a chance. Shane Porter getting an opportunity. Crew Jackson getting an opportunity. There's so many guys. Desmond Purnell, how about him? So that was positive, and we're going to continue to do that these next few weeks.
Chris, when you look at special teams, I guess the science of blocking punts, you get one on the second punt of the year, and K-State's just always been that kind of team and program. Can you take us a little deeper into what that's like and the homework that all those guys do? Yeah,
I think it's a couple things. It's the amount of drill work that we do. As far as there's a return side and hold up side, and then there's an art of blocking punts where you're not. I thought Seth did a phenomenal job on the first punt of the game, not roughing the kid, because I thought he was clean, and Seth just has a knack to fall off of it and not rough the kid, and then the next punt, maybe because of timing and stuff, and then I think it was Helton and Mashmeyer a ton of credit for creasing the shield and getting those guys to squeeze on him, and then Seth probably would have blocked it anyway because he almost beat the snap back there because he's so fast and athletic. But we spent an awful lot of time with the drill work of it, and then we spent a lot of time on special teams, as you know. So we have first punt against first punt return and intermix some of the twos and go as live as we can all fall camp long so that you can get the timing of it. Now, we're going to put the ball out there so Ty and Jack don't get run into, but we know how hard of a block it is to try to come down and block Seth, or how hard it is to time things up and wiggle your feet late and get in a position to block. And there's a lot of time spent on it, but as we know in this league that we're playing in college football in general, you have to have a factor in that phase of the game. And when you block a punt and score, the likelihood of you winning that football game goes through the roof. And we've been very fortunate. Well before I arrived here with K-State and special teams, and we've tried to just hold up our end with our staff to make sure that it still is special teams U, as our guys call it.
Coach, how did you feel like Andrew Langgang, his first significant action?
I thought he did a really nice job and got more and more comfortable, especially since he missed about 9 days right before. His first practice was Tuesday of game week, and he was out probably from August 15th on, so he missed so much time, but was happy. I think he said he ended up playing maybe 35, 37 snaps, and it was really good to see him out there. The more comfortable we can get with Liney, the more versatility we're going to have with him, with KT, who I thought played really well, and with Beebs.
And is TJ Smith available for this week?
He was out there yesterday running around. Today's a padded day, so I'll have a little bit better indication today, but all likelihood he'll play.
So many nice things have been said about the defense today. On the flip side, as a group, from game 1 to game 2, is there something you want and need to see him do better?
Just execution offensively. That's the biggest thing. You're talking offense or defense? Both. Offense, just execution. I thought we did some really good things, but like I said, we left some plays out there. So that's execution is one thing. Defensively, we were a little – we loved how hard our guys played, and they ran, did things right. We got off blocks well. Some of our angles and tackling were poor, and part of that is the lack of live tackling you do in fall camp. And I know Daniel Green missed a tackle. Daniel Green never misses tackles, but maybe part of that is the lack of doing some of that on a daily basis in fall camp, and you just can't. You're trying to get everybody to the first Saturday in September. So tackling and maintaining our leverage is the one thing on defense.
Offensively, the fact that you got off to such a good start, did that allow you maybe to sort of dial it down and save some stuff from Missouri?
I think it was after it was 27-0 is when it really got to that point. For us to get up 20-0 with a couple of really good drives on offense after the after the block punt. But we wanted to do some things to start the second half that we were able to do, and then we got some of the players out of there once it got to 34. But there was a lot of things that we've worked on in fall camp that I know that Colin did not get to on the card because they wanted to hold.
Did the level of physicality from Kobe Savage surprise you at all?
No, not at all. That kid is an Energizer bunny, and man, does he play hard. And if you can't tell, he has a lot of fun out there, and he loves contact. And it's kind of infectious because it got the crowd going, it got our defense going, got the sideline going. That's what I've seen from that kid all spring and all fall, and he is a football junkie. He's up in that office all the time. He doesn't care about a 20-hour rule. He's going to be up there by himself watching film all the time, and he wants to be a sponge and learn as much as he can. I'm so excited that to have, even though he's a junior college kid, to have young players learn from him of this is how you get to be really good. You learn what the heck an offense is doing. You learn your craft, and then you play extremely fast and trust your eyes, trust your keys, and you run through your leverage. And he ran through his leverage.
On that same note, Missouri has some really good receivers. Julius Prince showed his level of improved physicality. Was that something that you've seen in the offseason, and how important is he going to be this upcoming week?
Julius has always been a physical guy. He and Echo are going to get challenged, and I'm excited for those two guys. I think bookend, we have really good corners, and we've got some good young players behind those two. But Julius and Echo will get challenged this week for sure, and I'm sure they're excited about it.
One question about the offensive line. When you kind of look at how they played on Saturday against South Dakota, I think they allowed 3 or 4 sacks, a couple of hurries. Can you just evaluate what areas they need to improve before going against Mizzou?
Yeah. I thought we played well in the run game. Some of the protection things maybe were a back. It could have been a tight end. Could have been a variety of things. It's something that, once again, offensively, I think we left some things out there, and that's just not saying from a pass game or from a run game. I think that's collectively we can be a little bit better on pass protection, a little bit better sustaining blocks, whatever you want to say, and that's where you hope you get a lot of improvement from game 1 to game 2.